Oh, did we do it? Are we live on Facebook?
Yes, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're just setting up. Yeah. How's it going, everyone? This is
Awesome.
Judith Vergara here, and welcome to episode number 58 of Entrepreneur in the Spotlight. And tonight, we're hanging out with the one and only Michael Marcial. You see, Michael here is an online course coach. I've been following his work for a while. I'm part of his group, their Facebook group. Awesome. It's an awesome group. Plenty of value in there. Definitely check it out. He's a keynote speaker. He mentors thousands of successful coaches out there and entrepreneurs just like you, as I've mentioned in his group. So he's here tonight. He's hanging out with us. He's about to drop some major value. So definitely tune in. So Michael, give us a little bit of an intro and give us a little sneak preview of what it's like inside your world.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks so much for having me here. I'm super just freaking excited. But a little sneak peek. Yeah, like you mentioned, I focus a lot on getting coaches, entrepreneurs, mentors, speakers, or people that want to be in that world to clear up their message, but then also get it out there to more people. And a lot of what we do is focusing on online courses, programs, branding, that kind of thing. And yeah, like you mentioned, the 5-Figure Workweek group is just growing like crazy. And we just get to, again, drop just value bombs left and right. But yeah, I'm a little bit about me. I'm originally from Chicago, moved around a little bit, did some really cool things, moved out to Salt Lake City, Utah, which is beautiful out here, by the way. If you've never been to Utah, it's awesome. And I've been at this game now for 13 years.
Wow.
I've been fortunate to learn a few things, and I just love sharing. So that's why I'm here. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Michael. So what's your area of expertise? If you wouldn't mind breaking down your niche for us.
Yeah, I would say my area of expertise is online branding. And that for me covers a lot of different things, but what the result is, what I love helping people to do is create a business online that could generate $10, $20, $30,000 or more per week. Okay. And for me, it's like, I know years ago, like that was so far-fetched. Like I didn't understand like that would not be a thing that's in my vocabulary, but it's simple. Like I'm the most regular person that I know. And like I said, I happen to have figured things out that actually work. It's not all the things that you might even believe that they are. It's a lot simpler to create a business that offers real value to people, and is so dang clear on like the delivery, like the value that you can bring, that people constantly say yes and choose into what you're doing. But online branding, like making sure that people know what you do and who you are and how you can help them. It's that simple sometimes. So that's really what I spend my time doing, for real.
Yeah. Most of the time we sit here and overcomplicate everything, when in reality it all boils down to how can I serve you? How could you serve the marketplace, really? Let's see here. Did we lose Michael? Oops. I think we lost Michael.
Okay, I think I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, we lost you there for a bit. Yeah, you're back now. There we go. So as I was saying, like sometimes we always sit here, overcomplicate everything, but in reality, all you have to do really is ask yourself, how can I serve the marketplace? And that's all what it really boils down to. And like you said, it's that simple. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And I saw this on your Facebook profile. Like, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
I saw that picture on your profile. Like, don't overthink it. It's really simple. And the hard part is when there are hundreds of gurus and influencers out there that want to tell you how to do it. I believe that most of them are coming from their heart, but a lot of them are disconnected with what they actually did when they started, what they actually did when they had just launched, what they actually did. And they'll tell you what's working for them now. And I'll tell you, like, a lot of that it just doesn't translate. Like there's a an influencer that I know he preaches about email marketing. And I love the fact that he reaches his audience through email. I do. I love it. But for me, it's never worked. And so for a long time, I put in a lot of time, effort, money to build an email list, to market, to have like 19 different email sequences that did like all this different segregation and separation and different buckets and all this stuff. It was too much work. It didn't work. And it didn't produce any results for me. And I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. I don't go to my own email list to buy things. Like, I don't go into my email trying to like hire a coach.
Yeah.
I don't do any of those things. Why would I just assume that would work for me? And it didn't. And so there are certain things that may work when you have years and years in the game, when you have a large audience, and you have, 100,000 people to market to, and that 1% that ends up buying, like that makes it worth your time. But for real entrepreneurs, real coaches, mentors, speakers, people that are trying to build their brand, that's a lot of time to be taken away from like building a real business and making real money and making real impact on people. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, well, you're right. Now that I think about it, when did I ever go to my email to see, what coach should I which coach do I most resonate with? Not really. It's something that I interact with them, on Facebook or in social media. Really, that's basically where I interact with them. So, yeah. So now from there, break down your rock bottom moment for us. Tell us about that. How it all was before you got to where you are today.
Gladly, I will tell you. I'm such an open book when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, like, we got to keep it real. I love being real about it. And so for me, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur now for 13 years. And about 4 years ago, I made a big decision. I made a big decision to stop doing what I was doing and make a big shift. At the time, I was consulting with large companies, and there's on their marketing, their sales, and things like that. I was really, really good at it. And at the same time, I was putting all of my time and effort into that, not into my family, which really was my number one. Like, my family is everything. And so at that point, I had like a brand new baby girl, and like, I was living this incredible life. And at the same time, I was like so depleted because I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, not spending time with my family, like what I told myself was my number one priority. And so I decided to leave and pursue working with entrepreneurs only, not big businesses, not corporations, but like work with individuals like myself that wanted to create something. And so I did that, but two things happened. One is I realized that my identity was wrapped up in this term consultant. Like, I wanted to be the big hotshot consultant guy, and that wasn't me anymore. I had to reinvent myself. I wanted to be the family guy. And at the same time, my now former wife and I had grown so far apart over the previous 4 years that there was just no coming back. We were just two separate people living two separate lives. And that became so incredibly clear when I like gave the time and space to really look at it. And what ended up happening is we went through a separation and divorce, which, again, like, if I'm supposed to be this family guy, it's so important to me. And then that like falls away, right? Like, that, my identity was just kind of blew away, just gone. And I went through this really slippery depression is what happened over 6 months. I didn't recognize it. I stopped producing, I stopped working, stopped socializing with people, stopped taking care of myself, stopped just living. And eventually, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And if you don't get paid, you can't pay your own bills. And that doesn't work when you have, a new apartment that you have to pay rent to or whatever. And so eventually I found myself sleeping in my car. And that was like the day that it happened. Like, that was my point, my rock bottom, where I was like, you know what? This isn't who I am. Like, I'm looking myself in the rearview mirror saying, this is not who I am. No. This is a circumstance that I'm in, but I know that I'm meant for something more than sleeping in my car, which pretty soon I won't be able to, keep up on payments with. And I'll be sleeping who knows where, because my pride and my ego is preventing me from like reaching out to like my friends and family. right?
Yeah.
And that's really the moment where I decided to be different, to do different. And yeah, and I guess the rest is history. Like I just had this fire that was always inside of me, like this cage that was around it was now just broken open. And that was now 4 years ago. And I'll tell you what, man, I don't feel like, I feel so much freer when I'm just like, I get to be my authentic self. I know who I am, and I get to share this crazy passion of mine to help people get their message out in a similar way. It just lights me up now.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's a powerful story. We're getting tons of love on Facebook here, by the way. Renee Russian is saying, wow, that's quite the rock bottom story. He said it's pretty powerful. Yeah. And let's see here. Hey, Mark. Hey, Chrissy. How's it going? Raina, how's it going? And Renee is asking if we could drop in. Of course, we will drop the link to the group. Of course,
sure.
it's an amazing group. We will definitely drop it on. In the comments here after we're done. So now, what exact steps did you take to pull yourself out of that rock bottom part of your life?
I'm glad you asked that. It's a process. You know, in the moment, I didn't realize that I was going through a specific process. But now I speak about this process. I literally gave myself some time to answer this question. Like, what was that? How did it really happen? Because I wanted to be able to duplicate that for other people. And what it came down to was really two things. One, getting super clear on who I was. Like, I've heard people say, oh, you just got to get clarity. Like, that word clarity meant so many things. That was so like ambiguous. Like, I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
And now I do. And now I get it. Clarity in like who I am, what I love, the types of things I'd love to be spending my time on, the types of people I'd love to be serving. Just what my life wants to be. Like, I get to see what that looks like. And so for me, I got really super clear on my top talent and my top passion, because I knew that my talents would most likely yield an income, and my passion would allow me to impact more people. Those two things are really super important to me now. And I got real with myself. I was like, you know what? I'm great at consulting because my strategic mind, it's different. Like, I see through all the BS. I know what works and I know what doesn't. I'm not willing to play the game of like, I'm not going to tell you to build an email list if it's not going to work for you. I'm not going to tell you to do an online course if that's not going to serve you. But my strategic mind, like, I literally, right before we did this live, I was on an hour-long call with somebody in the mastermind group, and it was just like she told me 2 sentences of what she was working on, and I was like, great, I know what you're working on now, which means I know what you did do, and I know what you're going to do. And this is what works for entrepreneurs today. Boom, boom, boom. And now you have a very healthy 6-figure income just by doing these steps. And so the strategy is there. And so once I started to cut out the BS, like all the other things that I'm not really that great at, I'm an okay web designer. I'm an okay, I'm okay at so many things, but I'm really great at this thing. And then I'm really passionate about this thing. So I found those 2 things, and I found a way to marry them together. And that's why I call myself an online course coach. That's, again, there's a lot of strategy behind that title, that very specific title. But with that, I'm great at getting people's content and packaging it in a way that would make sense for somebody else to invest into it. And that really is impact and income coming together in a very different way for other people. But I got so clear on that, and I was like, man, I know that that's my thing. Like, there's nothing in this world that will stop me. I'm going to do it every single day. And hey, if I'm not getting paid for the next 3 months, so be it. I'm already sleeping in my car, but I'm going to do this thing. And I'll tell you this much too, Judith, is that as I got clear on that, on my cell phone, okay, which I had like, I don't know what, an iPhone 3 or 2 or something, I don't know. Whatever it was, I literally built a pretty okay website and put like a couple lines of like, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what it looks like. This is how I can help you. And I reached out to 10 people that were my good friends that on social media, people that I knew, but I also knew that I could help them specifically. And so I reached out to them and I was like, hey, these 10 people, this is what I'm working on. You know what I've been doing, but now I'm working in this way. Can we jump on a Skype call real quick and see if this is for you? I'd love to share this with you. And if it's right, then we can work together. Of those 10 people, 5 of them said yes to a $1,000 offer. And just like that, I had made $5,000 in a matter of like 72 hours. And it sunk. It was now cemented in my brain that if I offered real value and I was super passionate about it, nobody, like 50% of the people that I talk to are going to be like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that with you, Michael. Let's do this thing. And so that's really what kind of like got me out of that that situation.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's actually from here on out. Whenever I invite someone else to come on the show, be like, this is how you answer. What steps did you take? Very detailed, very So basically, what I got out of what I got out of that, and Chrissy as well, and a few others of our that are hanging out with us, is basically you played to your strengths, right? You didn't like, you kept it simple and you played to your strengths. That's
exactly it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I also had to cut out the BS, like all the lies that I told myself, like all the other stuff, like social media management. I'm great at social media, I feel, for myself, but like managing somebody else's social media, that's a lot of work. And so I would have to have like a ton of different clients. Like I didn't want to be doing that. I didn't want to be building websites. I didn't want to be doing any of that stuff. So I cut it out and I started to say, you know what? I'm a professional in this way. I know I can help you. But I cut out the other stuff too. It's not that I kept it all there and I just played to the strengths. It was like I played to the strengths and I got rid of everything else.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So what held you back from going all in when you were first getting started?
I would say the one thing was because I wasn't clear. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought it actually would be much more difficult than it was. I thought it was going to be too expensive, like it would cost too much.
Yeah.
I had all these notions of what it meant to like really get started and really push my thing out there. But the fact is that if you're watching this right now on your phone or your laptop or desktop, you have the means to create an actual business around who you are and what you love to do. Yes. That's just the reality. And I'm living proof of the fact that it doesn't have to cost literally any money. Like the reason why I jumped on Skype calls was because I couldn't pay my cell phone bill. I didn't have service, right? I was on McDonald's Wi-Fi, by the way. Yeah. It's free to use Skype. Like I'm being real about this. Yes. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot. I still haven't spent, well, I've spent a couple dollars on Facebook ads, but it's not a strategy that I use because it's not true to who I am. I love the organic stuff. I love meeting people like you and interacting and connecting with people that I know that I can serve. And so what got me through there was literally getting clear, just like finally getting clear on the fact that, you know what, like this actually can happen. And the shift happens when you're so in on your big vision. That big vision is so much bigger than the little things that we hold ourselves back with.
Yeah.
All the little things, they're really small at that point. So it can't hold you back.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, what a time to be alive. We're living at the time where the threshold to starting a business is lower than ever. Like you said, if you have a phone or a laptop and you have access to and you could access the nearest McDonald's or nearest Starbucks, then you basically have everything you need. Yep. Right? So yeah, I hear all sorts of excuses. So I can't afford ads. Then don't use ads. There's plenty of organic strategies out there, like you've mentioned, right? So, So what's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received was from, what it really boils down to is done is better than perfect.
Yes.
And for me, what that really means is like not just do it to do it, but like have it finished, have something accomplished, because we already know it'll never be perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Every single day we're learning something else that could have made it different or blah, 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 like whatever, but done is better than perfect. And so I think that's something that I love taking action against my ideas, my thoughts.
Yeah.
The speed of implementation is super critical when it comes to like achieving things. We know how fired up we get for certain things, and then like 3 weeks later when we haven't done it, it's like, it's not that important, right? But that's because we justify it away because we haven't taken action on it. If you just get up and do something and get it done, that's better than perfect. So that's one big piece.
Yeah, that's amazing. I always, that's something that's changed everything for me. And Renee here is saying that's the same thing that changed her business as well. As done is better than perfect. You just do, right? Stop overthinking it. Keep it simple. Okay, and I love that. I love that. I love that strategy. Keep it simple. Just do it, right? And one time my mentor said, "Good enough just has to be good enough." Sometimes good enough is just, so, and you just let it, and you just go, and speed of implementation, right? Do it as soon as humanly possible.
Make it happen. And it sounds like Renee is like our people right now. She's there. Yeah.
Yeah, she totally
is. Hey, Renee, what's up?
Yeah. So do you have like a personal habit that's just a must for you on a daily basis that you feel like something that's conducive to your success or to the success of your business?
Yes. And I would say it might be I'll give you one because you asked for one. One is actually engaging with my people.
Yeah.
It's a must for me for so many reasons. But one is like when I'm talking with people, I get to hear what they're struggling with, what they're working on, what's working for them, what's not working for them. You get so much insight. You get feedback on how you're showing up. You get everything just by engaging with people for real. That's one thing I do on a daily basis. In fact, I think I posted this in the 5-Figure Workweek group.
Yeah.
Like one thing I will not stop doing is engaging with people and connecting because it's just a beautiful, it's the thing. We forget that like if we're going to create an online program, a course, a retreat, high-level one-on-one programs, mentoring sessions, speaking on stage, conferences, events, mastermind groups, fill in the blank with all the things we could ever do. Who's on the other side of that thing? It's a person. It's a real life human being. And that's who we're ultimately serving. And so it's engaging with people. That's literally something if I stopped doing that, I would not have a business, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that post in the group this morning, right? Like something about if you engage too much, you appear too available. But at the same time, you want that feedback, right? That way you could correct, or not correct, but like fine tune it more to serve your audience better, right? That's how I see it, right? So yeah. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry. So what do you have on the go right now? What's something that you're super excited about?
Oh, good question. I would say the number one thing right now is at the end of March, we put together the very first retreat for the 5-Figure Workweek mastermind group. I'm super pumped for it. And here's one of those things. I know a ton of people that love to do retreats, and they'll tell me like, "Hey, when we first started, we couldn't even do the first retreat because nobody knew about it, nobody signed up for it, or whatever." Again, like a little sidetrack, a little side note is the fact that like I created the retreat because people asked for a retreat in that group. I've heard it 7 different times, and after 3 times, I was like, I'm already starting making this thing, and I'm so pumped for that. We have 7 spots, including myself. We only have 2 spots available left. And I don't market it. I just told people like, hey, we're doing a retreat. And 4 other people said, I'm in, like, I want to be there. Send me the link, and that's the cool thing. Like, but that's coming up at the end of March. And I would say I'm really focused on making sure that it's just top notch. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it's events, retreats. That's where the magic really happens. So I see a lot of breakthrough happening in events. Yeah. So we have a question here. I'll let you take it. Kelvin Wilson is asking, I just like to know how can a new person can really make this work with little or no money. I just want to finally find someone I can trust. Thanks.
That's interesting. I'd probably have some follow-up questions. I just want to find someone I can trust. Does that mean like a coach or mentor, or like a business partner, or like a partner in life? Like, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but how can somebody start a business with little to no money? This is what I would tell you to do, just generally speaking, because I don't know the business. I don't know what the focus is.
Mm-hmm.
But one, build a tribe around your message. And I guess that's predicated on the fact that you have a message, you have like something that's pulling you. You have skill, real talent around something. I would get really clear on what that looks like if you aren't already, but then create a tribe around you. Facebook group is free, right? You can use tools like Canva, Canva.com, or the app on your phone, and you can design a nice little Facebook, banner for the group. I would do something like that, and then start telling people, hey, I'm working on this thing, and I've got a community of people that are just like you, just like us. If you're interested, this is what it looks like. I would start collecting people, get feedback on what they're looking for, create what they're looking for, offer it to them, and you're golden. You are golden. But if you start making things at random out of desperation, and I'm saying this out of love because I've done this and I know people do this. Like, I just want to make money. Like, if that's your thing, that can be totally okay. But if you start making things that are just totally random, has nothing to do with who you are, your brand, your ideal person, it's very muddled that way, and you're just trying to make money, you won't find the right people. Like, I see this all the time where like somebody's launching some new thing every single week, and it's like, you're not hitting the right people. Nobody knows who you are. But as soon as you create a tribe, and it's like, hey, 5-figure work week is about creating impact and income with real, raw, relevant strategies that work today to create these results. Okay, now that's interesting. If that's you, guess what? You're in the group. If you're in the group, guess what? I'm asking you what you want to learn more about. Guess what? I'm creating courses that answers those questions. I'm creating a retreat based off of the feedback. I'm now doing a high-level mentorship program just for the people of that group because I've been asked for it. So to get started, it doesn't have to cost. It can cost you $0. You don't need the website yet. You don't need all the stuff. Make like we were just talking about. Make sure like it's good enough. Get the group where it's like, that feels right. That feels good. Start getting people into the group. From there, you get to ask what they want, create it, and give it to them.
There you go. Michael pretty much just broke down the first few steps you have to take in order for you to get started and get you to hit the ground running. Pretty much. That's amazing, man. Thank you. Even I learned from there. Yeah. So Kelvin here is saying, thank you so much. You are the first person that actually has took the time out to help. Hey, man, just Kelvin, just drop a comment if you have any other questions. Just let us know. We're always glad to interact. So, Michael, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now, before we part ways here, give us a parting piece of guidance. What's that one message that you want to leave with us here tonight?
Ooh, if I could leave anything, which, if you know me and all, like, I love to talk, and you know what I mean? I could just spew a bunch of stuff. Yeah. If it's one thing, it's this: when you're authentic to yourself, you attract what's meant for you. Okay. When you're authentic to yourself, you're real, you take off the masks, you're just real, you're just raw. People can see you. Then you attract the right people, the right mentors, the right coaches, the right opportunities, just the right everything. Whatever is meant for you that's out there now gets to find you because it's clear enough. But when you're authentic to yourself, you attract all that. So just be real.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Daryl. Yeah, we're getting lots of love. Renee's saying appreciate all the tips and strategies. Yes, absolutely. Michael just dropped it right there. Mic drop. That's exactly what he did.
Mic drop. Boom.
That's right. Michael, awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate you hopping out, taking the time out of the day to hang out with us. Tell us a bit about your story and drop some huge value bombs. Now, before we hop out, what's the best way that we could connect with you?
Yeah, I would say the easiest, like I love Facebook. So I go through every week and I'll clear out some space for new friends. But I would say if I have some room, send me a friend request, specifically send me a message because we're in Zoom right now and I can't see the Facebook post that Judith has created. So I can't see your names just yet. So send me a message to let me know that you saw me here. And that way we can further connect. Otherwise, I have a link for the Facebook group too that I can go and drop. But yeah, come play with us there. The 5-figure work week. It's 5-figure, the number 5-figure work week group, the mastermind. Request to join. Just say like, hey, I saw your interview with Judith and you're amazing and super handsome and so cool. And we'll make sure that we get you into that group as well.
All right. Awesome. So again, guys, definitely take him up on that. You know, it's an amazing group. I've been part of it for the last 2-3 months. It's plenty of value in there, plenty of stuff in there that I learned that I've implemented in my business and and I've gotten amazing results. So definitely something to check out. Again, Michael, thank you so much for hanging out and appreciate that and for dropping so much value. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with Michael and myself here tonight. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Keep the hearts, the likes, the shares, and the comments coming in. If you're watching the replay and you have questions for Michael and myself, just drop them in the comments and we will get back to you as soon as humanly possible. All right, guys. Other than that, you make sure to turn on live notification. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. That way you never miss out. All right, guys. Michael and I are going to hop out. You have a good night. We'll see you on the next episode.